This is Isabella Leone, and in today's presentation, we will be learning Chapter 14, Memory. So the key takeaways to this presentation. After this presentation, you will be able to define and note differences between the following forms of memory: working memory, episodic memory, semantic memory, and collective memory. You will be able to describe 3 stages in the process of learning and remembering, describe strategies that can be used to help enhance the original learning or encoding information, and strategies that can improve the process of retrieval. You will be able to describe why the classic mnemonic device, the method of Loki, works so well. Working memory. Working memory is a process we use to interpret and store information in short-term memory. A great way to remember this is you can think of it as a temporary sticky note in the back of your brain. Working memory holds information for a few seconds because it's temporary. Working memory can hold 5 to 7 items at a time. This is why phone numbers are only 7 digits long. Episodic memory. Episodic memory is a long-term storage of information involving life experiences. Examples can include information about past events and activities such as what happened. To remember what episodic memory is, think of it as your personal scrapbook that you can mentally time travel through. Semantic memory. Semantic memory refers to the long-term storage of facts and knowledge in our memory. Semantic memory stores words, rules, facts, meanings, and concepts. Think of your semantic memory as a mental encyclopedia of information you have learned in your life. Encoding. This is the first stage of learning and memory process. Encoding is the initial learning of information. Converting thoughts into spoken words is a great example of encoding. Another example of encoding can be how we process information and how something feels, texture, temperature, vibrations, and pain, and also sense of taste. Storage. This is the second stage of the learning and memory process. Storage is a process of retaining encoded information in the memory over time. In order for a memory to go into storage, it has to pass through 3 stages. Sensory memory. This is the brain's short-term storage of sensory information from the 5 senses. Short-term memory. Short-term memory is a temporary storage that holds a limited amount of information for a short duration, typically 15 to 30 seconds. And then finally, long-term memory. Long-term memory is a transfer of information from short-term memory into long-term memory to create lasting memories. Retrieval. This is the third stage of the learning and memory process. Retrieval is a process of accessing stored information from the memory when you need it. As students, we typically practice retrieval by using flashcards to actively recall information from the memory and enhance our learning. Strategies that can be used to enhance the original learning or encoding. Mnemonic devices. This is a strategy to remember large amounts of information, typically using imaging events. A mnemonic device we have probably all used as kids is the air caustic, never eat soggy waffles. This helps us remember cardinal directions, north, east, south, west. Chunking. The process of organizing information into smaller or more manageable units, also known as chunks. A great example of chunking is grouping a phone number into 3 chunks to make it easier to remember. TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday, is a type of mnemonic device, specifically an acronym to help us remember that it's Friday. Strategies that can be used to enhance the original learning or encoding of information. Elaboration. The process of actively engaging with new information by connecting it to existing knowledge. An example of this is when meeting someone new and you needed to remember their name, you can connect their name with something. The name Bill. Think of the dollar bill with their face on it. My name is Isabella, and when I meet people, a lot of people are like, oh, like Queen Isabella. Self-referencing. This is relating information in relation to something you already know. An example is when you're learning about a new historical event, you can relate it to something that has happened to you so it becomes more memorable. Strategies that can improve the process of retrieval. Active recall is a process where you recall information from your memory without looking at it. Active recall forces the brain to engage and work harder to retrieve information. Spaced repetition is a learning technique where information is reviewed multiple times. A great example of spaced repetition is using flashcards. The method of Loki. This is a mnemonic device used for improving memory by mentally placing items you want to remember in a familiar environment. An example is to remember a grocery list. Imagine each item on the list is placed on something in your house. Your bread is on your couch, your milk is on the stairs. This will help you remember the items on your list when you get to the store. So why is this method so great? The method of Loki gives your brain new information that's grounded to different things that you're already familiar with. This helps easily navigate your mind. It creates a mental walkthrough in a space that's easy to visualize with items linked to each object. It's the brain's natural ability to remember places more effectively than lists, words, or numbers. So the key takeaways of this presentation. Memory is a process in which we encode, store, and retrieve information. Encoding is the input of information, storage is the keeping of information over time, and retrieval is getting that information out. There are multiple strategies to improve our memories, including chunking, elaboration, and mnemonic devices like the method of Loki. The method of Loki is a powerful memory strategy that uses visual imagery and organization. Thank you.